Well, Illinois' primary is now 1 month away at minus a day, and we continue to talk to candidates vying for your votes in the top races. And this morning, we are joined by another candidate in the Republican primary for U.S. Senate, Jeannie Evans. Good morning. Thank you for being here this morning.
Good morning, Dana. It's great to be here.
Now, I know you are an attorney, you're a wife, you're a mother, you raised your 4 children in Hyde Park, but you are not a politician.
Right.
So
right.
Why run for the U.S. Senate, and what is your top issue? Is it crime?
It's a couple things. Crime is one of them. So I am a political outsider. I graduated from Harvard Law School. I've spent my career as an attorney taking on powerful corporations to level the playing field for small businesses and to lower prices for American families.
Why run for the Senate, though? Why that office?
I believe there are important issues facing our state and our country that I can best address at the federal level. We've had Democratic rule in Illinois, and we continue to see high prices and high crime. And I'm ready to take the skills I have as a lawyer, I've worked as an antitrust lawyer. I sue companies for price fixing. Families are struggling to afford a home, to put food on the table, to pay their electric bill.
What in the Senate could you do then? Because obviously, you know, Illinois is a Democratic majority, but right now the Republicans have a majority in the House and Senate, and there's a lot of bipartisan divide. What could you bring to the Senate, and what would you do in the Senate that would help all of Illinois?
Yeah, so one of the reasons we have high prices is because of the onslaught of regulations that businesses have to comply with that increase their costs. Under the Biden administration, we literally saw around 12,000 new regulations on companies. The Trump administration is trying to peel those back one by one. So if I were in the Senate, I would try to remove some of the regulatory burden and the tax burden on companies so that companies can form and grow and scale up, create jobs and opportunities for people in Illinois and our country.
President Trump, certainly has his set of policies he's been focusing on. Where do you fall in regards to your support of President Trump's policies as they stand right now, involving immigration, tariffs, and the like? Would you say you're in 100% agreement with his policies, or are there an issue or two that you disagree on?
I want to focus on the good work our president is doing to remove some of those burdensome regulations on companies.
But what about when it comes to immigration, for instance? I mean, where do you stand on that?
I do support the work that the president has done to secure the southern border. So it is the president's job to enforce the immigration laws. Unfortunately, under the Biden administration, the president abdicated his duty. We had an open border. We had millions of people crossing the border illegally, which has led to the situation we have now. Trump, to his credit, has taken action to secure our southern border, to enforce the immigration laws.
He's also empowered his DHS and border czar to allow their agents to go, and detain people, in some cases who are U.S. citizens, who don't have criminal records. Would you continue to support that type of enforcement, or do you think that needs to be rolled back? Because it's a really divisive issue right now, especially here in Illinois.
Yeah, I think the polling is the majority of Americans do want a secure border. They do want enforcement of the immigration laws, and they do want deportations of people who came illegally.
I guess, is what I'm asking.
So I think it's working very well in most states. In the couple of Democrat-led states where Democrat leaders are openly encouraging people to obstruct federal law enforcement, we have problems. Enforcing the law is a dangerous, tense situation, and when you have Democratic leadership encouraging people to follow the law enforcement agents, to dox them, I mean, some of these agents are getting death threats, it causes a very dangerous, tense situation. If I were elected, I would be working very hard to build cooperation between state and federal law enforcement.
And very quickly, because we're almost out of time, which is what happens in these condensed interviews. One thing that I think frustrates a lot of voters, Democrat and some Republican, who may not be completely supportive of the president currently, is there's a lack of working and reaching across party lines. If you were elected to the Senate as a Republican, would you reach across the aisle and try to work with Democrats and find some compromise on issues where compromise might be possible, or would you follow the hardline Republican stance right now, is where we won't work with Democrats? And a lot of Democrats have that same stance towards Republicans, which is causing a lot of problems.
Yeah, I mean, I have strong values values, but I definitely am the type of person who will work together with everyone to build consensus, to negotiate and to get good results. As a lawyer, you know, I'm tough in the courtroom, I'm tough at the negotiation table, but I also know how to get a settlement. So I know how to win cases at court, but I also know how to get a settlement with people with differing views. So I think I'll be able to do that in Congress.
All right, Jeannie Evans, thank you so much for joining me this morning and making the trip to be live here in the studio. I appreciate the 3-minute, 4-minute opportunity to get to know you a little bit, and I hope our viewers do as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Right, thank you, Jeannie Evans, Republican candidate for the Senate. We have reached out, by the way, to other candidates on both sides of the aisle, of course, running in this race. On the Democratic side, we will speak with Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton next week, and you can watch our full interviews with Don Tracy, Pamela Denise Long, and Robin Kelly on our website, cbschicago.com/election.